Welcome to another edition of Courtside with Rob and Washut. But before we head over to the arena, I want to give a big thank you to our sponsors of the show, Group Therapy Bike Tours and Slim Chickens. We'll start with Group Therapy. They are all in on the Nebraska basketball wave. Head over to grouptherapybiketours.com and book your ride today for all of your pregame, post-game, whenever game, birthday party, wedding, family reunion, corporate event. They have a 15-person trolley ride, a 6-person mini bike for whatever event you want to celebrate. And like I said, it is full force in Nebraska. If you've gone to a Nebraska game, I'm sure you've seen the trolleys riding around the Haymarket and downtown Lincoln. If you go over to grouptherapybiketours.com and use the promo code NebraskaBall, you will save 15% on your first ride. So make sure you head on over there and support our great sponsor. It's a ton of fun. I've been on it several times. Could not recommend it enough. Now over to our other sponsors, Slim Chickens. Bill Hooks and his wife Stacy are diehard Nebraska fans, and they couldn't wait to jump on the Nebraska basketball train. Locally owned Slim Chickens has 2 locations, 84th and Old Cheney and 16th and Pine Lake. Slim Chickens features a variety of options with fried and grilled chicken tenders, wings, salads, wraps, sandwiches, chicken and waffles, and southern sides. What makes Slim's different? Well, they have over 17 different dipping sauces for guests to choose their favorite. Slim Chickens is available for dine-in, drive-through, or delivery via their online ordering. Check out Slim Chickens app and start earning rewards today. Slim Chickens is always a favorite for large gatherings and tailgate parties, especially Nebraska basketball tailgate parties, and let them do the cooking for you. Slim Chickens is moving forward, and they are expanding to the north side of Lincoln soon, so keep an eye out for that. Stop into your local Slim Chickens restaurant today for some southern hospitality and see their newly remodeled locations. Again, thanks to all our sponsors. Now let's head over to the arena and take you courtside with me, Rob and Washut. What is up, everybody? Rob and Washut here with Courtside with Rob and Washut here at Welsh-Ryan Arena in Evanston, Illinois. And I got to be honest, this is my 18th season doing this, and this is my first road game at Northwestern. For whatever reason, just the stars never aligned the way that they have this year, but here I am. It's recently remodeled, and it's nice. It's a nice arena that kind of nondescript from the outside. I will say that their football stadium, which is currently being remodeled, it's coming along, and it's significantly bigger than the high school field Northwestern football used to play on. So interested to see what that final picture looks like. But here in Welsh-Ryan, I'll give you a little tour here. Media row. There's my seat right there. And then view of the court. We're up here in the rafters, literally. But the good news is it's only 7,000 seat arena, so there are no bad seats in this place. So we'll walk and talk here, and I'll take you down courtside, since that's the name of the show. And I guess we'll talk some keys here. You cannot talk about what Nebraska needs to do to beat Northwestern without talking about beating and containing Nick Martinelli, the all Big Ten forward for the Wildcats. Literally does everything for them. He is as prolific of a scorer as there is in the Big Ten Conference, as there is in all of college basketball. And that's why he leads the nation in points per game at just around 24 points per game. So he is a load, 6'7", 220, 25 pounds, can really do everything for him. He's a volume scorer where he's going to get a lot of shots, but he's also extremely efficient. He shoots 52% from the field, and he's one of their more consistent three-point threats. I think he's shooting around 40-ish% from three-point range, on 45 attempts. So not 40-ish, he's like 35% on 40 attempts. But that's where it starts. He's the guy that is going to be kind of the lifeblood of what Northwestern does offensively. Everything funnels through him. He leads them in pretty much every statistic, and it's going to be a fine line, I think, for Nebraska to walk, where you got to obviously account for Nick Martinelli. You have to devote a lot of attention to him, especially when he gets the ball anywhere near the paint. But then the next key is not to overcommit to him, because he's also a really good passer out of the post. And while Northwestern doesn't have a lot of guys that light up the stat sheet, they've got capable shooters. And if you leave them open and kind of go all in on trying to stop one player, it could leave you vulnerable for some, 6-point per game guy to go off on you and have a career day, as we've seen that happen in the past. So the balance between making sure you do what you need to do against Nick Martinelli while also not making life overly easy for the rest of his teammates to let some guy go off on you. That's going to be kind of the balancing act that Fred Hoiberg and Nate Lenzer are going to have to walk today. And then on the defensive side, along with Martinelli, Northwestern protects the basketball probably as well as any team. Not probably. They do protect the ball as well as any team in the country. Their offensive turnover percentage, I believe they lead the nation. They're 7th in offensive steal possession percentage. And what they do is they are really methodical offensively. They really don't want to play with a lot of pace at all. They want to control the game, walk the ball up court, and really make it a half-court game, which, Nebraska, they want to get out and run. So a definite conflict in styles, and I think whoever is able to impose their game plan better is going to have a distinct advantage. If Northwestern's able to control the pace, get defensive rebounds, get multiple opportunities with offensive boards, and obviously play their game through Martinelli in the half court, that's, I think, the game that they want to draw up. Whereas Nebraska, they want to get up and down. They want to turn this thing into a track meet where their pace is a distinct advantage, their three-point shooting is a distinct advantage, and they want to try to exploit some of the mismatches they have with making Northwestern's bigs have to clear out and try to guard guys like Rink Mass and Barricade on the perimeter, and then utilize those back cuts to slash to the rim. So I think that there's a pretty clear path that Nebraska wants to follow defensively, but it starts with obviously with Martinelli, but then finding ways to still create havoc defensively, even if you're not creating turnovers. As Fred Hoiberg always says, active hands are always the key, where even if you're not turning the ball over, you're jumping passing lanes, you're getting deflections, you're throwing their rhythm off in the half court to where all of a sudden there's 7 seconds left on the shot clock and they start to panic and jack up a bad shot. So that, I think, is going to be just as key as, forcing turnovers would be key, but that's hard to do. But I still think that you can fluster them defensively with the kind of mental execution that Nebraska's thrived with on that end of the floor all season long. Like, we all know they're not the most athletic team out there, but they are all 5 guys on the floor understand their role within Nebraska's defensive scheme. They understand where they need to be and have been excellent in anticipating where their opponents are going to be and where the ball is going to go, which has led to all those steals, all of those deflections, and all those created turnovers. So that I think is going to be just as important. Where again, you don't want to get ahead of yourself and start kind of forcing the issue, trying to create turnovers, but you got to make Northwestern uncomfortable, and you got to throw some chaos at them to get them out of rhythm. And then if you go back to the last time Nebraska played here last year, things did not start well for the Huskers. They fell behind early. They were down 15 at half and were down by as many as 20 points in the second half. And it took one of the most miraculous comebacks in school history for them to rally all the way from behind and pull off a win. That is not a formula Nebraska wants to follow whatsoever today. It's one of those games where I think they opened a 4.5-point favorite. They're probably, I think the line's maybe up to about 5.5 at this point. So this is a game that, Nebraska just doesn't want to mess around with. Like, they want to get off to a fast start, because when you look at their road success, all of their Big Ten road games, they started hot, and they were able to build a little bit of a lead, set the tone for the game right out of the gate. And then even when things started to turn the other way, they had a little bit of a cushion there that they were able to withstand whatever run their opponent threw at them. That's once again going to be the key tonight. They cannot fall behind the sticks, especially against a Northwestern team that makes it so hard to go on runs. With the way that they protect the basketball, with the way that they control the clock, starting fast and hitting shots early will be imperative, especially knocking down a couple threes to opens up Northwestern's defense. So those are the 3 keys for me tonight. We can do another walk around here. I can show you a little bit of what's going on here with the squad. We got a couple guys shooting around. There's Braden Frager, Jared Garcia, Cale Jacobson. Like I said, it's a smaller arena, but it's remodeled. It's nice, good amenities. It's not compare this to Ohio State, which is a massive arena. It's like a hockey arena. this is kind of like a true college gym as opposed to a pro hockey rink. There's the legend right there, Kemp Pavelka, doing his thing. He's going through his script right now, so I don't want to bother him. This right here, these two guys right here, if you ever watch the cinematic recaps following every Nebraska basketball game, these are the masterminds behind it. They do an excellent job, and I will say, I've said it before, I will say it again. Nebraska is absolutely fortunate to have the talent they do in their social team. They think I'm joking, but I'm absolutely not. Every one of those cinematics looks like an NFL Films HBO Hard Knocks special. Fantastic what they do, and hopefully they can put another one today with a comfortable Nebraska victory. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of reasons. There's Jamarcus Lawrence putting up some shots. Jamarcus is always one of the first. Him and Braden are usually always the first ones out here. Justin Bolus getting some work in. And I think, I wrote in my tunnel talk this week about Braden Frager getting some attention. NBA scouts are already starting to ask around about him. There's talk that other schools have started to inquire about him and maybe put out some early feelers, aka tampering. But right now, I think that for Braden, his focus is all about this season right now. I don't think there's really any thought about next year. I think that's anything that's in his consideration, because he knows that what this season is. I mean, he put a lot of work in for this year. All last year was built towards preparing himself to make an immediate impact this season. And, he reclassified early, spent that year just kind of pushing potentially to come out of that red shirt, but Nebraska was able to stay disciplined and keep that red shirt preserved. And now I think it's really paid off for everybody involved. Braden has flourished this year, and I think that Nebraska's got a special one down the pipe. Like I said, there's a thought that there might not be a player on the roster right now that has a higher ceiling than Braden Frager. And I know Nebraska is going to do everything they possibly can to keep him. And honestly, I don't know how interested Braden is from going anywhere, because he understands the role that not only he has this year, but what he would have next year. Fred Hoiberg's proven history of NBA development, and the fact that he's in a system right now where he's thriving pretty darn well. So Braden's got an opportunity to add another signature piece to his already impressive season, and we'll see what happens. But that's all I got for now. We're going to sign off. Thanks again to our sponsors, Group Therapy Bike Tours and Slim Chickens. And make sure you tune in to the Courtside with Rob and Washut YouTube channel for some post-game analysis on what is hopefully a 18th Nebraska basketball victory. Thanks.